circuit that you clearly love. Your home race, you could argue.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't practice a lot here, so I was a bit surprised about it.
You'd never get. I mean, fastest in qualifying as well, Jeffrey. It bodes for a very good evening for you. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I hope so. The final will be excited, so yeah, we'll see. The stuff will be important.
We've seen you finish. Your best result of the season so far was 4th last time out at Watkins Glen. A podium, maybe a win this evening.
I hope there we are going for.
I would expect nothing other. Well done, Jeffrey Roof, and congratulations on the heat win. Andre, any questions from you before we let him go?
No, I think we can let him get into concentration because he has a big final race ahead of him. So everything's fine on my side.
There you go, Jeffrey. We'll let you loose. Off you go. So you can focus on his efforts. Congratulations to him. Hopefully we'll see a bit more of him later on. So Heat 2 coming up. Same format again. A 10-minute race. Top 10 go through automatically into the main championship race. Anybody from 11th downwards has to fight it out in the last chance race. I notice most successful NASCAR Whelen Euro Series driver ever, 3 times champion, and with the most wins as well, 22 career wins. Ander Villarino is off the back of the grid in this one, so he's got some work to do. It is Tobias Dauenhauer that has qualified on pole position for Hendricks Motorsport at the wheel of his Ford. Andre Castro, who has been a winner so far this year, Andre Castro, he's won a couple of heats, the prologue event and at Brands Indy. He's there in second place on the grid. The second row of the grid sees car number 311, Bavo Fallon, who's gone well throughout the course of the races we've had so far, lining up alongside the American driver, number 70, Eric Filgueras. And then row number 3 of the grid, it is 479, which is Michael Breitigam, alongside car number 189, which is Davide Dallara. Now, Michael Breitigam, excuse my pronunciation with that one, Andre. Again, somebody you know well as well. He's the editor for Motoring Press in Stuttgart, and is a very experienced sim racer.
Yes, he is. First of all, I take the German flag and say Michael Bräutigam. That's his name. And yeah, he's a motorsport journalist. He has a lot of real racing experience. He has a lot of sim racing experience. I think he's racing online for more than 10 years. So let's see what he can make in this race, what he's capable of. But I think he had not so much time to practice here with the Cup cars at Zandvoort. And to be in those NASCAR cars on such a track is very difficult. It's hard to adopt and you need a lot of time to practice. And I think Michael did not have a lot of time on those in those cars on this track. So let's see. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for him. But maybe we see him in the top 10.
And if you notice, showing on the graphic in 10th position, Bleaky Molen, well, it is a third member of the Bleaky Molen family that's making his debut in EuroNASCAR. We've seen Michael and Sebastian out racing for real in the last couple of seasons with us, but Jerome Bleaky Molen, who knows this circuit like the back of his hand, is sort of on the bubble, really. If he can stick where he is in terms of grid position in the race, when they come the checkered flag, he'll just about scrape it through into the main race, but he can't afford to get picked off by a couple of cars, otherwise he's got to roll his sleeves up and slug it out in the last chance race. So there's work to be done there for your own Bleaky Molen, a circuit he knows well. Andre Castro is going to want to try and do something from the outside of the front row of the grid. He has had a good season so far in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series. He finished 3rd at Brands Hatch. He was 14th at Watkins Glen last time out, where he, like many other drivers, got tangled up in, well, the big one, there's an understatement. It was a colossal accident. There was so much graphic requirement on my laptop that it actually collapsed and fell over when the accident happened, and took us a few minutes to get everything rebooted. But I've subsequently seen the footage, and yeah, there weren't many cars that weren't involved. But we're about to get heat number 2 underway. Remember, 10-minute race, top 10 go through. Lights are about to come on, and who is going to lead the charge up towards Tarzan for the first time? Tobias Dauenhauer gets a good run, but there's contact further back, and it looks as though Ander Villarino is caught out amongst several other cars that are spinning around towards the tail end of the field. I think caught up in that was also Stefano Gustavalle at the wheel of the yellow Cal Racing car, so he'll drop right away towards the tail end of the field. And Fabrizio Ametta was also, I think, tangled up. Maybe Scott Jeffs as well might have got caught in that one. But out front, it is Tobias Dauenhauer that leads from Andre Castro in second place as we go on board with American driver for Mishu Motors, Eric Filgueras, on board his Chevy. Looking back at Bavo Fallon, who runs the PK Car Sport. Car number 311 right behind him, Bavo Fallon. And then after that, it's car number 479, which is Michael Bräutigam, looking to see whether he can do good things there in 5th place. But other than that tangle at the back, the front of the race all got away rather well. And Bavo Fallon is another driver that's impressed me throughout the course of this season that we've had so far. Let's just have a quick look at the replay. We're looking at Scott Jeffs. There's a few cars sort of chink out from behind. Ander Villarino gets a great run, and I think Ander Villarino there, for me, Andre, just looked as though he was right up against the pit wall, was trying to get past the car of Stefano Gustavai, and Stefano Gustavai didn't quite see him, squeezed into the pit wall, and there was a chain reaction.
Yeah, it's always those very difficult starts. Everybody's trying to make a move, try to get into the top 10 very early, and that's what's happening when something went wrong. So yeah, typical chain reaction crash, what we've seen here. But afterwards, we have now a very calm race. Everybody has taken their position, and I think we have a new guest in the commentary booth. It's Jakub Krafek from the Czech Republic, the sales manager of Autodrome Most. So Mark, I hand it over to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, so Jakub Krafek joins us in the commentary box, who not only is the sales manager for Autodrome Most, he's also been representing the circuit in the EuroNASCAR E-Series Championship. But great to have you on board, Jakub. In e-racing, the season has had good and bad points for you, but the great news is today that the announcement was made that a bit later than expected, we will be at Autodrome Most in November.
Yeah, hello everyone. Hello to all the fans of Most and fans of NASCAR. Of course, the November is not one of the warmest dates, but we care about our fans, and most important was that they can watch the race in person on a circuit. So, from the experience from last year's, the weather was not so bad in November. Yeah, so I believe that we will have around 6 to 8 degrees, and it will only improve the excitement and thrill of the NASCAR races.
Well, it was certainly warm when we were there last year. It was the warmest one of the season, I think. And yeah, it was the first time we'd visited Autodrome Most. I think the circuit went down really, really well with the drivers and the teams. You gave us fantastic hospitality, but the fans flocked there in their thousands for your first ever event. You must have been delighted.
Yes, of course, we were delighted, and we are looking to build this event further and to bring even more fans and more excitement to Most and to first event of NASCAR in Eastern Europe.
And it's great the fact that you're working with us in terms of real racing, but you're also working with us in terms of the Esports Series, with various drivers having driven your Autodrome Most car show Toyotas over the course of the last few rounds.
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
I say it's great that you're working with us in terms of real racing when we go there, but you're also working with us and entering cars into our Esports Series with different drivers driving your car.
Yes, we have some guests from our partners from Volkswagen Financial Services, Kia, Bohematic, and it's great that we can have them on board. And I think Michal did a very great job in Watkins Glen by dominating the race. Michael is doing also great in Zandvoort. She's also a real racing driver, and we'll bring Michal also for Zolder. And for next events, we'll see who will drive for us.
Well, we thank you for your support, and we'll look forward to heading over to Autodrome Most in November. Thanks for joining us in the commentary box.
Thank you very much. See you at Most.
There we go, Jakub Krafek, who is a driver who has been competing with us in the Esports Series, but is the sales manager for Autodrome Most. Now, whilst we've been chatting to him, Tobias Dauenhauer is still coming under pressure from Andre Castro. In third place, Eric Filgueiras, though, has dropped away from this pair and is now fighting it out with Bavo Fallon for the final spot on the podium in this second heat. We're at the halfway point of the race as well. We also saw limping into the pit lane Fabrizio Amata on a replay, so not entirely sure what's been the problem with the number 41, the Club Motorsport Chevy, but the man who's been racing in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series since 2013 would appear to be out of the heat and will have to take his chances in the last chance qualifier. Slight mistake from Eric Filgueiras there, I think, as he turned in towards the left-hander at Hogenholzbocht, and that just allowed Bavo Fallon to close up for a split second. The two of them still pretty much locked together at this stage, but the lead pair continually getting away as well. They've now fallen, Andre Weigel, who joins me in commentary, almost 5 seconds adrift at some parts of the circuit. But no matter where you look, there are fights going on, aren't there? We're looking at the fight for 10th and 11th place here. This is for the person who either will just qualify or will just miss out. Nave Talor, the Israeli driver, in 10th position. Simon Palat looking at the moment as though he might just miss out on automatic qualification to the main race.
Yes, right. That's the fight I was watching the whole time right now, because I have a different screen. I can change my camera perspectives and so on. So I watched this race, and it's very, very intense. We have in 10th position Nave Talor, the guy who's racing for Solaris Motorsports from Italy. He was a part of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series in 2019. He did a great job, very young guy from Israel. And then we have Simon Pilate, who will make his EuroNASCAR debut in the 2020 season. So two very young drivers who want to make a mark in the EuroNASCAR, want to put their names on the wall of the champions in the NASCAR Hall of Fame someday. So I think we will see. What we're seeing right now is a fight that we can also see in the 2020 season between two very, very talented and young guys.
I agree. I mean, they're both just 18 years of age at the moment, so they are very much still a match for each other. Nave Talor in the Solaris Motorsport car, Simon Pilate at the wheel of the Feed Vict Racing, which is one of the new teams that joins the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for the 2020 season. Back to the fight for 3rd and 4th place, and Bavo Folland is not going away. Eric Filgueiras, the American, is going to have his work cut out here if he wants to try and hang on to the final podium spot. Eric did do 4 NASCAR Whelen Euro races with us in 2019. Cut his teeth, though, as so many drivers do in single-seaters. He was champion in the US Formula Ford 2000 national category back in 2016, having been runner-up in that same category back in 2015, and like so many, originally started his racing career in karts, but he's got his hands very full indeed. Now, are they getting caught by the car behind? I think, Andre, that Michael Broutigam is beginning to close in, but with 2 minutes to go, it's a tough ask to catch, let alone get past, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think he will just stay in 5th place and advance to the main race. I think it's not about getting a better starting position for the main race. It's just being part of it. I think for my German fellow countrymen, they are doing a very great job. Tobias Dauenhauer has a very good chance to win the race. He's from Germany. Then Michael Beutigam in 5th position. He's from Germany. So my guys are doing a very good job right now. I'm very happy about that.
National pride is on their shoulders. Tobias Dauenhauer, who has agreed that he is going to race in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series EuroNASCAR 2 division with Hendricks Motorsport, 22-year-old for 2020. He came through part of that recruitment program, which gives drivers the opportunity to try and test the car, of which most of them jump out with a big smile on their face and then sign up. But he's done ADAC GT4 and a bit of Blancpain and has raced in the Spa 24-hour previously. Here's your own Bleaky Molen. Now, I did say I thought he would go well. He is putting the Cypriot driver, Vladimir Tyoitsis, under enormous pressure. And I think Vladimir Tyoitsis is one of those drivers. I have seen so much of him on iRacing. He was in a race that I was commentating on Sunday evening, but it seems as though every single night he is involved in an esports championship. More seat time is always a good thing, and at the moment he's doing a very good job of hanging on to 7th position despite the pressure of your own Bleaky Molen. Back to this fantastic fight for the final spot for automatic qualification with only 20 seconds to go before the checkered flag falls, and it looks as though Nave Talor might just about have done enough here, and Simon Pilate is going to miss out potentially on making it through automatically to the main championship race, but he's not going to give up. You can see just how close he is to the tail end of the Solaris Motorsport Chevy. Down the straight they start to accelerate. Clock has now ticked over 10 minutes. Tobias Dauenhauer, who leads, is sort of halfway around the lap, and there is a problem ahead. And now that was one of the Bleaky Molen cars, wasn't it, that had the problem? Your own Bleaky Molen, I think, now has maybe had a problem, but the checkered flag has come out, and as Tobias Dauenhauer has gone over the start-finish line, he will be the winner of heat number 2. Who is going to be the last of these cars to make it through? Well, Nave Talor and Simon Palat will now make it through, because it was a spin for your own Bleaky Molen on the final lap, but he does, by the skin of his teeth, finish in 10th position. Despite the spin, he will automatically qualify through to the main championship race, but the car he got tangled up with, which was Chris Rickards, the Brax Racing Chevy, is unfortunately now going to start towards the front at least, but he'll have to work his way through the last chance qualification race if he wants to try and get into the main race, which carries the championship points. And remember, it's 40 points for a win in the main championship race tonight, 35 for second, 34 for third, and descending by 1 point thereafter. There is 3 times former champion Anna Villarino over the start-finish line. He is going to finish down in 16th position with work to do. And Scott Jeff's rather battered-looking car finishes in 17th place. We'll have a chat to our drivers, at least our race winner, Tobias Downhow, will join us in live commentary. But confirmation of the results then of Heat 2. Top 10 automatically go through to the championship race. Tobias Downhow wins for Hendricks Motorsport. Andre Castro in second place. Eric Filgares, Bavo Fallon, Mikel Bradegam, and Davide De Lara complete the top 6. Vladimir Choitsis is automatically through in 7th place, as is Nave Tallo in 8th, Simon Pilate in 9th, and Jerome Bleekymol, and despite a spin on the final lap, just is able to bring the car home in 10th position. Chris Ricard, Gasper Denovsek, Gustav Berggren, and all thereafter are going to have to try and fight it out in the last chance race. So Heat 3 will be coming up very, very shortly. We should get 22-year-old Tobias Downhour joining us in the commentary box very, very shortly. He will be very, very pleased